This week I'd like to ask a question that might seem pretty strange coming from a rabbi. The question is this: is God lovable? Shalom, my friends. Yes, that's what I'd like to talk about this week. And the reason I want to talk about it is a verse in Deuteronomy. First of all, let me point out that the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, which hold special significance and sanctity in Judaism, the first 4 books never mention loving God. It's introduced by Deuteronomy, and it's in there at least 10 times. I can't promise you that I caught every single time it's there, but a quick and dirty survey came up with about 10 instances where we are told to love the Lord our God. In Deuteronomy, there is a verse that says, God will circumcise our hearts. That's literally what the Hebrew says. God will circumcise our hearts so that we will be able to love Him. Some translations might have God will open your heart or other variations. The Hebrew literally is God will circumcise your heart so that you will be able to love Him. This has an interesting implication, which is that there are obstacles that have to be removed for us to be able to love God. What might they be? Well, one obstacle could be that loving God does not come naturally to us. If it did come naturally to us, the Bible wouldn't have to command us to love God. It never commands us to love our children. In a normal, healthy parent-child relationship, that comes naturally. But we have to be told to love God. The second thing is that, as far as I know, and I have done some research into this to support what I'm about to say, the Hebrew Bible is the first code to talk about loving a deity. None of the pagan codes, the Code of Hammurabi, for example, they do not talk about loving their gods with a lowercase g. So the idea of loving God, when the Torah came into being, was a brand new idea. And maybe that contributed to the difficulties in loving God. But I think that there is a good response to the problem of loving God not coming naturally to us. And that is that God repeatedly says in the Bible He wants us to love Him. That's the one thing that is not in God's control. Because if God made us love Him, which I assume God could do if He so chose, if God made us love Him, that love is meaningless. It's not freely given. God wants to be loved by us because we feel that love for God, not because we were programmed by God to love Him. It's probably why loving God doesn't come to us naturally. But I find the idea of God wanting to be loved by us to be the very thing that makes God the most lovable. And so it seems to me that God is saying, I know loving me does not come naturally to you. It might not come easily to you. Nevertheless, I ask you to do so. My friends, if you would like to join our growing YouTube channel, you know what to do. Click on my face. It appears right over there. Or take a look at the last video I released. Click on its icon, which appears right over there. As ever, until next time, Shabbat Shalom.